Everybody for coming here at the crack of noon. And we have very special guests of honor to kick off the literary meet. So I'm very pleased to introduce Shirshendu Mukhopadhyay and Amitabh Ghosh. I'd like to invite both of them on stage. We have a very simple inaugural ceremony. We just would like our guests of honor to write column on the canvases near them and just sign it at the bottom. So we would first request Shirshendu to sign the canvas and write column 13 there. আপনি আঁকতেও পারেন উনি এইটা Okay, we'll get him to sign that later. I'd now request Amitabh to do the same here and to please prove to Shirshendu that he hasn't forgotten Bangla. Words on the occasion to start this meet, followed by Amitabh.
সকলকে আমার সশ্রদ্ধ নমস্কার, আমার গভীর প্রীতি এবং শুভেচ্ছা। আর আমাদের বিদেশি বন্ধুরা রয়েছেন, তাদের স্বাগত জানাই। ওয়েলকাম টু অল অফ ইউ হ্যাভ কাম ফ্রম ফরেন কান্ট্রিজ। আজকের এই যে লিটারেরি মিট, এটা খুব বেশি দিনের পুরনো নয়, আপনারা জানেন গত বছর থেকে শুরু হয়েছে। কিন্তু এদের উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনা দেখে আমি অবাক। তার কারণ এরা এই কলকাতা বইমেলায় প্রায় বিশ্বকে ধরে বেঁধে নিয়ে আসেন এবং অনেকে মিলে এখানে একটা ভারী সুন্দর সম্মেলন হয়। আজকের যে প্রোগ্রামটা আপনারা দেখুন, অল্প সময়ের মধ্যে কতগুলো প্রোগ্রাম আজকে আছে এবং কত মানুষ ইনভলভ তাতে। বহু মানুষকে তারা এখানে এই সভায় টেনে এনেছেন। সাহিত্য সম্পর্কে মানুষের আগ্রহ কতটা আছে না আছে এই নিয়ে একটা বিতর্ক বহির্জগতে তো আছেই, আমরা জানি। কিন্তু এটাও ঠিক যে সাহিত্য পাঠক হয়তো কিছু কমে গেছে আগের তুলনায়, কেননা মানুষের কাজ বেড়েছে, টেকনোলজি বেড়েছে, বিজ্ঞানের চর্চা বেড়েছে, মানুষের আমরা যাকে বলি রুজি রোজগারের ধান্দা অনেক বেশি মানুষকে আকৃষ্ট করছে আমি জানি, তা সত্ত্বেও এখনও কিছু মানুষ গল্প উপন্যাস বা প্রবন্ধ কবিতা এগুলো পড়ার জন্য আজও কিছু মানুষ উৎকণ্ঠ থাকে, কৌতূহলী থাকে, আগ্রহী থাকে। তো তারা আছেন এবং থাকবেনও ভবিষ্যৎকালে। আর এটা যদি বা কখনো, এই আশঙ্কা করি না, যদি বা কখনো মুছে যায়, মানে লোপাট হয়ে যায় সাহিত্য, শিল্প, কলা, শিল্পকলা, তাহলে বুঝতে হবে যে মানুষ আর মানুষ নেই, সে যন্ত্র হয়ে গেছে বা বস্তুতে পরিণত হয়েছে, পদার্থে পরিণত হয়েছে। তো যাই হোক, এটা আমরা জানি যে আজকে দুপুরবেলা, কাজের দিনে দুপুরবেলা কত মানুষ এসছেন এই মিটে, দেখেও আমার খুব ভালো লাগছে। গত বছর আমি এদের এই আয়োজনে এসেছিলাম, চমৎকার ভিড় হয়েছিল, মানুষজন এসেছিল। মালবিকা অত্যন্ত উৎসাহী একজন মহিলা, আমার বাড়িতে কয়েকবার গেছে, আমি তার ভেতরকার হৃদয়বত্তার পরিচয় পেয়ে খুব মুগ্ধ হয়েছি। তার স্বামীও অত্যন্ত, তার উপযুক্ত স্বামী বলতে পারবো, সহযোগী জিৎ, সে আমার খুব স্নেহের পাত্র। তো আপনাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানে আপনারা এসছেন, সার্থক হোক, সুন্দর হোক। আজ দুপুরটা আপনারা এক মুঠো আনন্দ নিয়ে যান, এটাই চাইব। আর অনেক মান্য, অনেক বড় বড় ধীমান পণ্ডিত ব্যক্তিরাও এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমন্ত্রিত হয়ে এসছেন, তাদের কথা আপনারা শুনবেন। আমি সামান্য যার কথা বললাম, আর বাংলা ভাষা এইসব নিয়েও একটু আলোচনা হয় বলে আমার মনে হয়, কেননা বাংলা ভাষার কিছু বিপদ আপদ হচ্ছে বলে অনেকে মনে করেন। তো যাই হোক, আমি বাংলাতে বললাম, সবাই আমার কথা বুঝতে পারলেন না আমি জানি, কিন্তু বাংলা দেশে, বাংলা কলকাতা শহরে বইমেলায় আয়োজিত অনুষ্ঠানে বাংলা না বলেও পারলাম না, সেই জন্য আমাকে ক্ষমা করবেন দুই দরকার হয়। নমস্কার। এবার অমিতাভ যা বলার বলবেন।
Namaskar, Shishindu Babu. It's a great privilege for me to be here today. I'm really happy and really honored to be standing here in front of you at the inauguration of this book fair. It's especially amazing to be here in the company of such great writers who I've admired for such a long time, as Shishindu Babu, Thomas Keneally, and so many others. So for me, this is really a kind of amazing thing because আমি তো ছেলেবেলা থেকে কলকাতার বইমেলায় আসছি। I've been coming to this book fair since I was a boy. It's been one of the great experiences, really of my childhood in Calcutta. Calcutta is a city of books. I remember a time when the only books we could buy were second-hand books on pavement stalls, and that lent a particular sort of excitement to finding books. And Calcutta, despite all the difficulties and problems we faced over the years, has somehow miraculously preserved a literary culture. I find it reflected not only in the ways in which people read, but everywhere I go in the world, in remote towns in the US or elsewhere, you always find some young girl or boy from Calcutta who's just devoted themselves to the study of literature. And, more than anything else, I really think it's Shukanto and Shupriya Chaudhary who've kept alive a tradition of classical literary learning, if you like, and it's a very, very remarkable thing that they've been able to do that. So it's wonderful to be here. It's many thanks to Malavika and others for inviting me to be here today. It's a great pleasure, great honor. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoy yourselves.
We have time to just field about a couple of questions, because typically that's not part of our inaugural ceremony, but if any of our audience, as opposed to media, have any questions, please feel free. Shirshenduda, thank you, Amitav. We'll be starting our next session in 10 minutes. Okay, the media can ask one question, Monideepa. supposed to have come, and the answer is no. I'm afraid he's not catching your question.
Okay.
Who was supposed to come to Kolkata today, not to the literary meet, but to promote his film.
Monideepa, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're talking about the literary meet. If you wish to...
Salman Rushdie is coming to Calcutta. I have no information. I didn't know.
But he is not coming, that's the point.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, in a general sense, I think it's very unfortunate that Salman Rushdie isn't able to go wherever he wishes, and he certainly should be allowed to go wherever he wishes. But as to whether he was meant to be at this festival or something, I'm afraid I don't know anything about that, and I must defer to Malavika.
No, that's fair enough. He was not supposed to be at this book fest, not at this literary meet, not at the book fair, but he was supposed to come here to promote his film, which is launching on Friday. And apparently he is not coming. Now, we don't know the reasons why, but there were protests this morning at the Calcutta airport with protesters saying that they would not allow the author of Satanic Verses to land in Kolkata. What do you feel about that?
So I don't know about it. If there was a protest, I have no information about it.
Okay,
And
sir.
who actually demonstrated against him,
Okay,
that's why I don't know.
okay.
No,
Okay.
thanks. That's it, Monideepa. Thank you.
This is not
Thank
to
you,
do with
everybody.
Salman Rushdie. This is to do with Kamal
No, there are
Hassan's
other
film.
questions. Thank you.
Mr. Ghosh, Shishendu Babu, either of you can address this for us. By and large, there is a very clear trend that the youth is not into reading as much as they used to be. What can one do about it? Because the entire knowledge of the world is, after all, still in the printed word. It's not audiovisual. Ki kora jai, please bolo.
Actually, have you talked with the publishers or booksellers? If they say that youth these days are not reading books, then it is authentic. But my information is a bit different. I know the youth are reading books. And what is the alternative of books here? They don't, we are a poor country. We have not the access to the electronic media or the computers or anything. So the middle class boys and girls, they do read books. And my information is that they are reading. They have not actually boycotted books.
Would you like to say something about reading?
You know, I face this problem with my own children. It's not easy to make them read long books. But, and I think it's certainly the case that when you're especially in the US, if you go to, say, literary meetings like this, you see less and less people under the age of 30. It's really older people there. In India, I think the demographics are quite different, and the readership is continuing to grow. And because, you know, the levels of literacy are rising, I think for the foreseeable future, readership, even if it's not at the same levels that it used to be in the past, there'll be more and more readers sort of emerging. So I think in India, we don't face this problem yet.
Okay, just one last question because we have to move into the next session immediately.
Sir, it's for Amitabh Ghosh, Mr. You have written an acknowledgement in A Bunch of Lies written by Riju Boshak. So can you please say some words about him? About how he
Sure.
writes?
Well, the reference here is to a young boy called Riju Boshak, who lost his life. He was a student at La Martiniere. He lost his life at the age of 17, and he was a poet and a writer. I really knew nothing about him, except that he had once come to one of my readings, and I had signed a book for him, apparently. But his mother wrote to me and said that he loved my books, and would I write a foreword for his poems. And I found the poems very touching, actually. They were very anguished poems, and so I wrote a foreword for him, and the book was released, I think, a few months ago. I felt it was a terribly sad story, and I felt a great deal of sympathy for his mother. And, you know, it was wonderful also that Shunil Babu, who we so sadly miss here today, he was at the release and he released the book. Oh, I see. Namaskar.
Okay, there's one question from Mr. Pico Iyer.
I just arrived in Calcutta for the first time. Such a great and distinguished literary tradition. And I'm wondering if both or either of you could explain some of the things that are particular to literature from Calcutta or Bengal that we wouldn't find in other literatures. What I should look out for.
If the days are numbered for Bengali literature,
What's so special about
are you asking that?
Bengali literature is special here?
Oh, special. We have many specialities. We have Rabindranath Tagore, we have Jivanananda Das, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay. So many things. All are specials. Bengali is special in its own way. You know that it has been recognized as the sweetest language of the world. And then we are unfortunate that Bengali literature has not been translated into English and other languages. The quantity is very poor. So we are not actually, we have not got that publicity or that big platform. But I know, as a reader of Bengali literature from my childhood, I know what a sweet and what a great, what a deep, beautiful literature it is. And actually, we are in a position to compare Bengali literature with other literatures of the world because we know English and we read English books, foreign books. We are quite, actually, from my childhood, I have read so many stalwarts of the world literature. So I can compare and say that, yes, Bengali literature is still has a very foremost position in the world. It's a great literature. About the future, if you ask me, so I would say that about future I cannot say anything. Anything may happen in future. But still now, Bengali is a very living language, a lively language. It is perhaps fifth or fourth in the world. So I'm quite hopeful about Bengali literature. I want to ask Amitabh if he has to tell anything about Bengali literature.
I agree with Shishendu Babu. You know, one of the most remarkable things about Bengali literature right from the start, that is going back to the early 19th century, is that it's always been very eclectic, very open to influences. And it's been able to absorb many different kinds of influences. I mean, in the early 19th century, it absorbed this whole sort of tradition of the French feuilleton. You know, some of our earliest books are in that style of the feuilleton. Sir Walter Scott was very early appropriated by Bankim Chandra, one of our great writers. So there's always been a sort of incredible interplay of languages and influences in Bangla, and I think that's one of the things that makes it very exciting, and that hasn't stopped. I mean, Shunilda was inspired by Allen Ginsberg. If you look at Rilke, you know, there are 2 or 3 translations of Rilke in Bengali. And he's really profoundly enriched the Bengali language as well. So for myself, I would say this is one of the things which is so exciting to me about reading Bangla. For myself, I mean, you know, from my childhood, reading Bangla has always been very important to me. And not just the great writers, but even a lesser known writer like Sharadindu Bandyopadhyay, you know, he was a historical novelist. And I loved his work as a child. And, you know, also it's very wide-ranging. I mean, years ago, I mean, decades ago, we had wonderful sports novels, you know, by a writer called Moti Nandi. So I've just recently discovered First World War memoirs written in Bangla and completely forgotten, which we don't have in any other language in India. So there is this kind of eclecticism. There's a kind of a searching, a willingness to sort of step outside, you know, what is the sort of circumscribed space of writing. And that to me is a very exciting thing in Bengali writing.
Thank you, Shishenduda. Thank you, Amitav. So we'll be moving into our next session in 5 minutes.